On OSRC News at 7, Governor Ayedatiwa tasked stakeholders at NDDC Summit to prioritize peculiar needs of Niger Delta people. OSRC promises collaboration with relevant parties to secure Ondo State from flooding. Many students feared death as story building collapses in Plateau State's capital. And from the foreign scene, lightning strikes claim 4 lives in India. Thank you very much for joining us tonight on the news at 7 on OSRC television. I am Oyewumi Ayinigbara. Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa has urged the management of Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) to give priority to projects that will meet the peculiar needs of each of the oil-producing states in the country. President Bola Tinubu has named the National Art Theatre in Igomu, Lagos, after Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka. Tinubu announced this in a tribute he wrote to celebrate Soyinka in commemoration of his 90th birthday. The president of the series of local and international activities held in his honor. According to Tinubu, Nigeria not only celebrates Soyinka's remarkable literary achievement, but also his unwavering dedication to the values of human dignity and justice. Born on July 13, 1934, Soyinka at age 32 met with Chukwuemeka Odumegu Ojukwu, the military governor in the southeastern Nigeria, in an effort to avert the Nigerian Civil War. He was arrested by federal authorities and imprisoned for 22 months as civil war ensued between the federal government and Nigeria and the secessionist state of Biafra. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State has presented the staff and instrument of office to the new Olubadan, Oba Owolabi Olakunleyin, as the 43rd Olubadan. Makinde said at the event that he was happy the ceremony held despite the effort of perceived distractors. Earlier before the installation, the monarch was made to perform some rituals as required by the tradition of the city. As early as 6 a.m., thousands of Ibadan residents and others had trooped to Mako Hall, venue of the program, where security agents at the active time controlling the surging crowd. The seat became vacant after the demise of the 42nd Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Lekan Balogun, who joined his forebears at the age of 81 after ruling for 2 years. Triple E Systems Associates Limited has commissioned an 80-kilowatt solar hybrid mini-grid power plant in Onirubu community in Odigbo local government area of the state. According to the managing director, Professor Felix Dayo, the installed mini-grid will adequately energize the community and provide reliable power supply to improve the socio-economic life of the community. Joy Pius now completes the story.
With excitement written over their faces, Residents of Onirobo community in Odigbo local government area of Ondo State, who have never been connected to the national grid, trooped out en masse to witness the commissioning of the 80 kilowatt solar hybrid mini-grid power plants in the community, an initiative of Triple E Systems Associates Limited.
Power and energy resources in Ondo State. 1, 2, 3.
The managing director, Triple E Systems Associates Limited, Professor Felix Dayo, said the project is part of projects put in place to ensure uninterrupted power supply in communities across the country. Professor Dayo said over 80 households in the Onirobo community currently benefits from the 24 hours stable power supply.
For the past 10 years, Triple E Systems Associates Limited, the company that I lead, have been offering consultancy services to many clients, including the World Bank, AFDB, Federal Ministry of Power, and individual companies who are doing power projects. We decided to go into distributed generation, building community-based mini-grids like this. Onirobo is the first of such bundle. It is a bundle under the unserved community, which are the mini-grid, the off-grid people.
Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources, Razak Obe, represented at the event alongside the State Commissioner for Infrastructure and Public Utilities. Professor Bolaji Aluko encouraged the project and commended the developer for taking the initiative.
Noting that the well-being of residents at the grassroots who are directly affected must be prioritized. Omoriola Ngbeji has details.
You remember that at a point in time we have to reschedule the election. We also reschedule the election again.
This is not the first time the elections have been postponed, but the current delay driven by the deliberate decision of political parties to boycott the exercise is both strange and worrisome. The last local government elections in Ondo State was held on 22nd of August, which produced 18 council chairmen and 198 councillors into the 18 local government areas of the state. It is expected that 3 years after, another election should be conducted to bring in another administration to continue with the smooth running of the local government system. Ondo State Independent Electoral Commission in 2023 came up with guidelines to conduct another election, which was earlier scheduled for December 2023, rescheduled for February 2024 before it was finally rescheduled for July 13, 2024, and now postponed indefinitely.
What we have is not compliance with the rules and regulations. Therefore, the Commission, having reviewed this, decided to come out with this position that the election is hereby postponed. And it's not rescheduled, postponed, definitely.
After our last meeting here, we went to our office and decided among us that no political party should submit any nomination. We want to see Mr. Governor before any election can be conducted. Am I not speaking your minds?
Yes.
This had led to reactions from the general public on whether those at the affairs of authority truly care for the people at the grassroots. Immediate past managing director and editor-in-chief at the Guardian newspaper, Martins Oloja, blamed the scenario on the failure of ODEC and IPAC, saying the actions will negatively affect the masses.
Why do they have to boycott election because of inability to have discussion with the state governor? What do they want to discuss with the state governor? It can't. One is a legal issue. It can become another controversy. And they need to discuss whatever we want to discuss with the election management agency, that is Ondo State Independent Electoral Commission. Then it is the responsibility of election management agency in Ondo State to call these people and have a stakeholder meeting with them and address their concerns.
Also, a senior lecturer at Adekunle Ajasin University, Akungba Akoko, Dr. Gbenga Abimbola said the State Electoral Commission has responsibilities to up their games.
Why are they now coming up to say that they don't want to participate? They should have made their intention known right from the word go. And also, ODS should have made its intention known. You cannot just come a week to the election or less than a week to the election to say that new parties did not file nomination. Is it today you know that they did not file nominations? Why didn't you do the needful to allow the public, to let the public know about what is happening? So I'm not exonerating either the Electoral Commission at the state level or the political parties. All of them, they have a case to answer. They are just delaying the process.
To an elder statesman, Moses Olowu, ODEC should contact INEC on the next line of action.
For whatever administration of the local government, they should allow the 1999 Constitution to, to be properly utilized for the smooth running of the local government, thereby seeking advice from the INEC.
While the people of Ondo State are hopeful that a new date would be announced in due course, the Commission has also been charged to put in place required structures to gain the confidence of the people. Omoriola Nwiji, Osrc News.
Afe Babalola University, Ado-Ekiti Award has appointed Professor Olashopo Ijabadini, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administration. Award Vice Chancellor Professor Smaranda, who made the announcement, described him overborn Professor of Medical Sociology, diligent and dexterous on his beat. Professor Ijabadini was until the appointment Chairman, Student Disciplinary Appeal Committee and Head, Department of Justice in the institution. The NESCOM legal practitioner is a member of Board of Trustees, Adekunle Ajasin University, Akungba Akoko alumni. As part of the efforts to decongest correctional centers across in the state, the Chief Judge Olusegun Odushola has pardoned 57 inmates who were awaiting trial for various offenses. The Chief Judge granted the release of the inmates during routine visits to the correctional centers at Olokuta, Ondo, and Okitipupa. Some of the inmates were released on humanitarian grounds, lack of diligent prosecution on the part of the Department of Public Prosecutions of Ondo State Ministry of Justice, while some have spent more than the time prescribed for them by law, as well as on health grounds. He urged released inmates to turn over a new leaf and keep away from any act that could lead them back to the correctional centers. Odushola lamented the worrisome state of custodial centers in the state, calling on the federal government to take the necessary steps to ensure its rehabilitation. The State Comptroller of Corrections, Jude Agbuje, appreciated the Chief Judge for taking his time to address critical issues relating to congestion in the custodial centers. You're still watching Osrc News at 7. After the break, many students feared dead as story building collapsed in Plateau State's capital. Please to rejoin us. Thank you very much for rejoining us. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at OSRC TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to the channel OSRC TV Ondo. As the rains intensify, Ondo State Radio Vision Corporation OSRC has joined other stakeholders seeking collective effort to secure the state from imminent flooding. OSRC's chairman, Kunle Adebayo, while giving remarks at an emergency stakeholders meeting at Ministry of Environment in Akure, said the station will not relent in sensitizing the public on the dangers of flooding through its various programs. Omoriola Mbiji has details.
Of recent, Nigeria Meteorological Agency has given a broad outline of the quality of rain to expect across the country, warning areas prone to flooding of immediate action to avert recurring disaster. Ondo State was among the states mentioned, hence the proactiveness of its government to address the situation. This emergency stakeholders meeting from various ministries, agencies, and organizations was to deliberate towards preventing looming floods. Commissioner for Environment, Oyeniyi Oseni, promised to adopt advanced early warning mechanism and release emergency lines to the public for easy access to the ministry for immediate action where the needs arise.
We're back on the channelization of major canals in the state, and also with the infrastructure, we'll be able to commence the silting of the drainages across the state, across the local government in the state, and also the process to dredge the Baluwa is ongoing.
In their contributions, other stakeholders, including OSRC, represented by the Director, News and Current Affairs, Nike Busari, sought collective efforts in protecting the state from imminent disaster, expressing the channel's readiness to exert its social responsibility.
For us at OSRC, we've been doing all good, and I want to assure that arising from this summit today, we're going to do more. We invite Ministry of Environment, whenever we go, just keep us people that we attend programs on OSRC TV, Alalaye, and Orange FM.
If you drive along there in Jebuna, we have tried to evacuate some people in order to create zones and plant trees there, so that whatever any gaseous emission in that area, the plant will use it for its photosynthesis to absorb it back.
Whatever any of our refuse that we're dumping, it certainly has multiple effects on the society.
All those drainages that will be blocked will definitely sift them so that there will be free flow of water, and this will assist everybody instead of the water to be back to the road.
Others pleaded with the general public to join hands with the government in preferring solutions to disaster.
We have been embarking on pushing and clearing of dump site for quite some weeks now, where all the PSPs who are collecting waste regularly from the community can have a place to dump their waste regularly.
What we tend to do is to educate our people that they should make sure they put their refuse in a proper way.
Time for us, as lucky as we are at the moment, to begin to plan 20 years ahead from now. Let us see how we can ensure that our road, the networking is done in such a way that we plan for 20 years ahead. I want to beg the ministry, ecology department, when we channelize, we don't want the people to go everywhere. We have to enforce that we have done those people. It's your responsibility to ensure that the waterways are kept clean.
Ondo State government has embarked on dredging of water channels to give way for a free flow. Omoriola Mbiji, OSRC News.
Chairman of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Ola Olukoyede says the war against corruption would not be won through lip service, emotional outbursts or mere mob campaigns. According to Olukoyede, there is need for commitment, passion, consistency, as well as credibility of intelligence, and every whistleblower must point towards truth and evidential proofs. In his message on the occasion of 2024 African Anti-Corruption Day, the EFCC boss said the issue of corruption had been a bane to both local and global development. He said aside terrorism, corruption ranks the next deadliest affliction of humanity in every region of the world. Olukoyede assured every whistleblower of the agency's protection, noting that EFCC will never betray its partners in the fight against graft. A two-story school building at St. Academy Jobs has collapsed, trapping scores of students. The building that housed classrooms and offices collapsed while the students were writing their third-term examination. Rescue efforts were ongoing by the Plateau State Emergency Management through its executive secretary Sunday Abdul. It had mobilized its personnel and relevant agencies to the scene for emergency rescue efforts. The rescued victims were being rushed to different hospitals by ambulances of various organizations, including the FRSC, NEMA, Red Cross, and many others. Abdul said the number of casualties will be ascertained on completion of rescue operations. And now we move to the foreign scene. At least 4 people have been killed due to lightning in India's eastern state of Bihar. Heavy rains and thunderstorms accompanied by lightning strikes lashed several parts of the state during the past 24 hours, affecting 7 districts. Bihar's Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has expressed sympathy with victims' families and announced monetary relief for them. No fewer than 40 people have lost their lives to lightning strikes across Bihar in the last 2 weeks. Most casualties occurred when lightning struck people working in fields and taking shelter under trees during the rain. The remains of 14 victims of the 1995 massacre of 8,000 Muslim men and boys in Bosnia's Srebrenica have been reburied of what became Europe's first atrocities since World War II, constituting genocide. In May, the United Nations General Assembly declared July 11 an International Day of Remembrance for the Srebrenica massacre in a vote survivors hailed as historic and tagged failure, reflecting enduring ethnic divisions in Bosnia. Their remains, originally exhumed from mass graves, were laid to rest after a ceremony in a memorial cemetery outside Srebrenica in eastern Bosnia. Adirunke Kolawole takes it from here.
The remains of 14 victims of Bosnia 1995 Srebrenica massacre were reburied on Thursday, the 29th anniversary of what constituted Europe's first genocide since World War II. Their remains were originally exhumed from mass grave and were laid to rest after a ceremony in the Portocari Memory Cemetery in Eastern Bosnia. The youngest of the victims reburied was a 17-year-old boy. The eldest was 68. About 6,750 of the 8,000 slaughtered Muslim men and boys are interred at the site. In May, the United Nations General Assembly declared July 11 an International Day of Remembrance for the Srebrenica massacre. A vote hailed as historic by survivors and a failure by many Serbs, reflecting enduring ethnic division in Bosnia.
I invite you to honor the victims of the genocide in Srebrenica with a prayer or moment of silence.
The United Nations General Assembly marked the day with survivors present. Its President Dennis Francis urged members to reflect.
This period of global upheaval prompts essential questions about our way of life, our shared future, and how we treat one another. As we approach the 30th anniversary of Srebrenica genocide in 2025, let us reflect on and learn from this darkest chapter in our history to help prevent its tragic repetition.
Srebrenica was a designated UN safe area for civilians in Bosnia 1992 to 1995 ethnic war that followed the disintegration of federal Yugoslavia. The genocide unfolded when the town was overrun by nationalist Bosnian Serb forces. Under the 1995 Dayton Peace Treaty, Bosnia was split into autonomous Bosnia Croat and Serb entities. Srebrenica is in its Serb-governed region. Bosnian Serb Army commander Ratko Mladic and political leader Radovan Kadic were arrested after the war and convicted of genocide by UN War Crimes Tribunal in the arc for their role in the killings. Adirunke Kolawole, Osrc News.
Still on the foreign scene, the Israeli military has ordered Palestinians to evacuate Gaza City and head south as it expanded operations in the north of the enclave, an area it previously said it had cleared of Hamas fighters. Ever since, Palestinians from Gaza City have been fleeing by any means they can. Aketunde Akishimola has more.
Palestinians from Gaza City are once again on the move and heading to the south after Israeli forces demanded they evacuate amid an intense military assault. They're fleeing by any means they can, on foot, in the back of trucks. Mona Al-Husseini and her family have a horse-drawn cart. She spoke in Al-Nusayrat, south of Gaza City.
We've witnessed a lot. Many soldiers stopped us and kept searching us and stopped us for an hour. It's torture. We left the Haidar roundabout 3 days ago. We were besieged there. Many rockets were fired on us and we were wrecked. I can't even talk. Our situation is hard to describe or talk about.
The fighting has expanded even as Washington puts for a peace deal between Israel and Hamas. Hamas says a heavy Israeli assault on Gaza City this week could wreck efforts to end the war, just as negotiations have entered the home stretch. Residents of Gaza City say this week's assault is comparable to the fiercest battle of the war. Gaza City was one of the first major targets in Israel's retaliatory operation after Hamas fighters rampaged through Israeli settlements on the 7th of October, killing 1,200 and taking more than 250 hostages, according to Israeli tallies. A week later, Palestinians began to flee the city after Israel called on residents to evacuate. By the end of 2023, an Israeli air ground more than a quarter as Israel forces moved south. Residents fled began to return. Former Gaza City residents were joined by refugees. Has returned as well. As Mona Al-Husseini again displaced.
This situation is very, very bad. I didn't even want to leave or go to the south, but necessity dictates. They forced us out. They gathered and forced us out.
Israel's assault has killed more than 38,000 according to medical authorities in Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he remained committed to the Gaza ceasefire framework being negotiated and accused the Palestinian Islamic group Hamas of making demands that contradict it. Akintunde Akinshimola for Osrc News.
And with that report, we conclude the news tonight. But before we go, a quick look at the top stories. We told you that Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has tasked stakeholders at the NDDC Summit in Port Harcourt to prioritize the peculiar needs of the Niger Delta people. Ondo State Radio Vision Corporation has promised collaboration with relevant parties to secure the state from imminent flooding. We also brought to you that many students are feared dead and scores of students trapped following the collapse of a story building in Jos, the Plateau State capital. And from the foreign scene, at least 4 people have died as a result of lightning in the Indian state of Bihar. That's the news tonight. Thank you very much for your time.